Hello, this is Father Rich coming to you from the Rectory living room for our next masterpiece, number 7 of our 70 series of 75 masterpieces that every Christian should know by Terry Glaspey. Number 7 is the Scrovegni Chapel Frescoes that come to us from 1305 AD. I'm here before our bookshelf here in the living room. I was looking through it just recently and came across the St. Anthony's Chapel, not to be confused with the Scrovegni Chapel, but St. Anthony's Chapel in Pittsburgh, which is a home of over 4,200 relics. We're hoping to actually incorporate that into our pilgrimage to Sights and Sounds, the David production in June here at Our Lady of Peace. But it was named after St. Anthony of Padua. And interestingly enough, St. Anthony of Padua is the most famous part of Padua. When you go there just outside of Venice up in northern Italy, you visit the great Basilica to St. Anthony. You can visit his tomb and his relics. But when I was taking a pilgrimage there back in, I think, 2009, and we were going to start in Venice and make our way down to Rome, the pilgrimage company first just suggested taking right off. And I said, isn't there that chapel outside of part of Padua that's worth visiting? And obviously Terry Glaspey would clearly agree. It was the Scrovegni Chapel. I had had a chance to visit it when I was a student in Italy in the seminary. And so we made a priority out of that. And people were very grateful that I made an emphasis to make sure we went to this chapel before we left Padua. But it was, the artist is Giotto. And he is most famous probably for doing the upper basilica of the Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi. That would have obviously been built somewhere in the late 13th century, not within 100 years of St. Francis of Assisi dying and being declared a saint. But back in I think the late 1990s, there was an earthquake in Italy. And actually, much of that upper basilica collapsed. Unfortunately, several friars died, but they painstakingly recreated the Giotto frescoes because of their fame and because of his fame and well known. But it's universally agreed that the Scrovegni Chapel in Padua is his best work. He was commissioned to do it by a man named Enrico Scrovegni. It's actually Scrovegni. I always say Scrovino. But, and he did it just as a way to honor his father. Actually, they say as a way to atone for his father's not so good life. But nonetheless, Giotto makes this. And so a lot of this chapter is about Giotto. When he was in the late 1200s, he was a shepherd, but he decided the tradition goes, the legend that he was trying to kind of create an artwork out of stone and kind of sketching one artwork into a stone. And it just so happens that Cimabue, who was the most famous artist of the time, was walking by, saw what the boy was doing, and he immediately said, "You're going to be my art student." And from there, he outdid his master in fame. He was well known even in his time, as I mentioned, being commissioned to do the upper basilica of St. Francis in Assisi. And he really was revolutionary in what he added to art. Until that time, they say that they were very kind of strict in the art approach to art, that they would use these different models and a Byzantine heritage. Given that these given rules and paradigms, they wouldn't stray from that heritage. Predetermined models, prototypes that have been handed on as part of the artistic tradition. So very kind of stiff, not really lifelike. And so what Giotto said, I want to just paint what I see. At the time, they didn't have canvases, so they just used frescoes. So that's a type of painting that you have to do quickly. It dries rather quickly, so there's not a lot of chance for kind of taking your time with it. You have to kind of go with it. But he mastered that type of artwork. They say he brought his personality into, and he made the paintings more real. That was what they were known for. And really this was the precursor to the great Renaissance of art, and known for in Italy the Michelangelos, the Raphaels, and Leonardo da Vinci's, and all that brought a lot more personality and life to their painting as well. But Giotto was really the first one. And they say that sometimes it was a little clumsy because he was still kind of figuring it out, but really beautiful. The chapel that he did there in Padua, he did the life of Mary and the life of Christ, and then a Last Judgment. And there's over 40 panels. The ceiling vault is in the blue, the gold stars, and every inch of the chapel is covered with artwork. And so you go there, and it's just you kind of walk in and you're awed by the work of Giotto. So that's our masterpiece for today. The next one we're going to be doing is a piece of literature, Dante's The Divine Comedy from the 1320s. And so that'll be our next masterpiece. Encourage you, again, all this stuff you can get online if you check out the Scrovegni chapels in Padua by Giotto. You'll be really enjoy some great work of arts, some great works of art that led the art history into a whole new phase of its existence. So thank you for joining me. Have a great day, and God bless.